Welcome everybody to the experience. My name is David and I will be your host today. Today's topic will be about a story that was born within the deepest of my thoughts. And thanks to the quarantine, I believe each one of us is going through a metamorphosis. This metamorphosis is the perfect place for change, to acknowledge certain things that we normally ignore. I hope you enjoy, and let's begin. The story is called Talos Tale. What happens when you listen? A very long time ago, in a small village somewhere in Europe, there was a child named Talos. He was the son of an old warrior, and his mother a trader. They both loved him more than anything in this world. One day, his father, that was a soldier at the service of the lord of the region, was summoned. His role? Fight in a battle where not even the most skilled soldiers known for sure if they are going to come back alive. This was the last time Talos and his wife saw him alive. And because of this, Talos and his mother were meant to be now farmers. They worked the land in the outskirts of the city, but they were marginalized by the rest of the citizens, the former traders, and his father comrades. They lost the position they used to have. It wasn't easy. Talos' mother suffered a lot from her position. She sold all her clothes. She started growing plants and crops. Their lives changed a lot. However, Talos just grew healthy, going to the school, playing with sticks, and that was all for him. He was such a diligent kid. He always strives. He always wants to succeed and be better at things. While he was growing and going to the school, he met a child, maybe the same age as Talos. His name was Melos, and he was meant to be one of the most important persons in Talos' life. They both enjoying looking at the troops training in their break time. Talos cared a lot for his mother. He always wanted to help her in any chores. One day, Talos went to the plaza with his mother and he realized how people look at his dirty mother covered mud and dirt. He just wanted to give a better life to his mother. It was his purpose. Time passed and Talos became 15 years old. At that time, he joined the army. He decided to follow the same destiny as his father and fight for the region, fight for his mother. He must follow his father's steps in order to protect his mother and give her a better life. At that time, Melos and Talos were already older. They both joined the army and started their first campaign. In this moment is where the mettle of the man was tested. Talos, with only 15 years, went to his first campaign with Melos. They went around all the country, fighting and fighting and fighting all over again, from one corner to another, and from each time, Talos remained unscathed. It seems that blades cannot touch him, or anything bad can happen to them. Talos completely shine in the heat of battle. Someone's called him Talos, the Mighty One. The soldier described him as a dancer, a war dancer. The battlefield was his stage, and the victims, his spectators. Victory after victory, the renown of the army just grew. Talos was the champion of the army, and in his arm, his lemma, who dares win? After some years, the conflict ended, and the king called the army back. When he came back home, the king was pleased. He promotes Talos to a high-ranking officer because of this. Talos, finally home, rejoiced with his family, with his mother, with his friend Melos. Everything was just perfect in that time. His mother regained her position. She was now a noble. Talos was happy. He accomplished so much things. He listened to his mother. He listened to his wishes. He followed his path. One day, Talos was training the troops as a custom, and a noble came to his mother's house asking for a favor. They want to take some wood from the trees of one side of the property. However, these trees were located in a place where you cannot take them out. They were holding the cliffside. So she hesitates, but she was acknowledged of her own position. She didn't want any trouble. So in the end, the noble take the wood and give her some coin in return and take the leaf. Some months later, after this incident, there was a storm, one of the strongest and biggest this region have seen in years, and because of this, that part of the property slide down, killing 5 families of farmers with their slide. As soon as the storm ended, the king summoned Talos' mother. She, in completely tears, explained the situation to the king, explained how this noble take the wood and she doesn't wanna do it, but she feels pressure because she was just a noble very recently. Then the king asks to see the other noble, but the noble deny everything that was being told. He told the king that the woman was lying, that she was never meant to be a noble, that she was just a farmer, a dirty, muddy farmer, unfit of taking proper decisions, and because of her, these people were killed. As the king said, it was only way, executing the mother. As soon as Talos find out about what the king is going to do, Talos uses his influence and tries to convince the king, but sadly, he cannot make him into sense. Talos was ready to save his mother, but Melos stopped him. He told Talos, if you do this, we 3 are going to die instead of 1. Talos and Melos' faces were full of tears. Talos' rage was just from another world, but he doesn't dare hurting Melos. His mother said his last words, I love you, son. His mother was executed. Talos, in complete rage and sadness, waited in his house for 3 days without eating anything. At the 3rd day, he went out with his sword in his hand. At night, he jumped into the palace. He sneaked the guards and he killed the king. In that moment, the guards heard him. He was dancing inside the palace, killing everybody. Then he went to the nobles. He killed that night 100 people. Then he went back to the house and told Melos about what was happening. They only have one option now, to run, to become vagabonds, to become traitors. They both wandered the land for years. I'm not sure about how many, but they survived selling their sword for coin. In one of their adventures at this time, escorting a trading caravan as a bodyguards, they were told about a city that has a lot of political instability, and they decide to go to the city. Then when they finished the job and approached the city, they found a family that offered them a place to stay for the night. They stayed with them, but the first thing they realized was that they have no food at all to eat, or at least very few. In this moment, Talos asked the family, where's your food? You are farmers. In that moment, the farmer told Talos, we have no food, sir, because the taxes are increasing and our land is not giving enough, so we have to give the king a lot of food. In that moment, Talos gave the family the thanks, and with Melos by his side, went to the castle. When approaching the castle, Talos realized that all the guards have very shiny armor and the nobles at the court was also very fat people. They were like living very well indeed. They have the audience with the king. The job was simple: killing some thieves, escorting a caravan. The pay was very high, and they accepted with no problem. They just need to get rid of some thieves in a trade route that was currently being used by the kingdom. In that moment, Talos and Melos felt that something was not right here. They just think about it, but they just continued with the job. Suddenly, at some point of the route, they were being attacked, ready to behead every one of the thieves. They realized they had no weapons, but they used forks, sickles, scythes, and a lot of agricultural tools. Then Melos asked them, "What are you doing? You're farmers." And a thief replied, "Sir, we are hungry. We just want the food you are transporting." And Talos and Melos said, "But this wasn't supposed to be merchandise?" And the thief replied, "No, it's food. We just want to eat. It's the tax we'd already paid to the king." In that moment, Talos and Melos felt completely guilty. They were helping this king take the food from its own people. Then they give the food to the thieves and ask them to tell the story how they ended like that. And the farmer told the story of how the king, the nobles, and the aristocracy of the city were abusing them, taking all the taxes for them, taking all the food for them, and leaving nothing for the people. So the farmer had heard from Talos before and say, "If you will mind helping us, when we will take things back, we will give you some kind of payment, so please help us." Talos agreed and met with the rest of the resistance to attack the castle. Then Melos approached him and said, "Are you sure about this? We are going to get our payment, but these people are farmers. The castle is full of warriors." Talos replied, "It's the right thing to do. It's the thing my mother will like for me to do. At least I know that." Then, totally prepared and ready for battle, they went to the door of the castle with all these farmers. They start yelling, they start throwing rocks, and at one moment, the leader of the resistance say, "King, you are not killing us anymore. We are not paying the taxes. This castle is full of our riches. You are giving that riches to us because they belong to us." And they start the attack where a lot of farmers fall down the sword of a highly skilled, highly armored warrior. They have no chance. They seem they were going to lose. But Talos and Melos were so good in the art of war and have so many experience, move the balance. In 1 second, a lost battle was seemed to be a victory, a complete victory. They crush the doors, they go from the front and take everyone down. When they were in the king's hall, the leader of the resistance takes the king by the head and said, "This is for ours and our family. No one will die from hunger again. Not in this country, not in this kingdom." And then beheaded the king. When Talos and Melos were going down to the hall and leaving, the leader of the resistance gave them a payment, the crown of the king, and some jewels, and told them, "Thank you so much, this is your payment and you deserve it." When Talos and Melos were leaving the hall, they realized something. The farmers and their sons and their families were fighting against themselves. They were fighting over the food, the jewels, the riches. They don't want to share, they want everything for themselves. It was a chaos, a complete chaos. Everyone wanted the noble position, everyone wanted the power for themselves. In that moment, when Talos and Melos were leaving the city, they asked themselves, it was the right thing to do? It was the right voice to hear? It was a loud voice, it was a scream from a lot of suffering people, but it was the right thing to do? Some years later, as they were gaining fame around the kingdom and everyone knows about Talos and Melos, the great warriors that wandered the country and turning back unbelievable battles in the tides of defeat with only their swords and iron will. It was just a question of time for them to be summoned by one of the most prominent kings. Alexis the Great was his name, and his sadness was all over his face. He wanted to give them a job that nobody else was able to achieve at that moment. Alexis offered Talos and Melos unbelievable riches, coin, lands, women. He told them, anything in this kingdom that you want is yours for the take. With sad all over his face and his white beard, he told the heroes, rescue my daughter because she was taken by a dragon 1 year ago. Not even my most skilled warriors or the stronger mercenaries came back. You are my last hope. Talos was reluctant at first, but Melos, completely hyped, convinced Talos. It was a dream to fight the dragon. They take their horses and leave the castle at full speed. They ride for days, whole days, looking for tracks, for any clue. 3 weeks later, they found a small village where Melos said to Talos, this is like the village we grow, isn't it? So many memories coming back. The first thing they do was going to the church in the middle of the town. They approach the priest and ask, have you seen a dragon, priest? Or anybody has seen a dragon? They say, 3 nights ago, he burned a farm, eating adults and children. Then he left to the east. That's where they were going, to east, to find this princess, to climb this prize. Then, after 2 days, in the back of the horse, they found it. They found tracks from the dragon. They start looking for them. Then they split because there were a lot of tracks. At some point, they found a cave, a huge cave. Talos was ready to this fight, but Melos was nervous. He was afraid. He told Talos, I don't know if I am ready. It's a dragon. We have been fighting people until now. I really want the money or the riches, but it is worth dying for? And Talos said, it's the only thing we have. If we keep hearing people, they will keep dragging us into their mortal affairs. They always have different opinions or different problems. It's just better for us to take and not to give. Then Talos unsheathed his sword. Then they proceed into the cave where a lot of animal and human carcasses laying on the ground. They keep going, and at some point they start looking at scales, white scales, and Melos told Talos, it must be very close, the dragon is changing its scales. We must hurry. Then they found it. They saw a pair of glowing eyes, huge eyes looking into them. Talos approached very fast and take a knee in the front of the dragon. Then, with impulse, he jumped and tried to stab the dragon in the neck, but he moved very fast. He cannot even see the color or the face of the dragon clearly in that darkness. Melos, without breath in the back, just take his spear and say, Talos, move! When he jumped to the side and Melos threw his spear, it hit the dragon in its arm, and he growls like anything they have heard before. The dragon charged with all his force, trying to go outside the cave and slash Melos in the arm with his claws. Melos fall down when Talos go around and jump again, attempting a cut in the dragon's wing. But he moved very fast and Melos lying on the ground, witnessing the dragon wake. The dragon ran very fast outside the cave and they lost the sign of it. Then the earth started shaking with all its force. The cave was crumbling and rocks started falling from the ceiling. In that moment, Talos started running towards Melos. He dragged Melos a couple of meters from there, from the rocks were failing. Talos take a closer look to Melo's arm. It wasn't just a scratch. The dragon ripped off Melo's arm. He was bleeding a lot, and Melos was thinking on what to do. The dragon started growling again. The air was shaking again. So he decided to drag Melos out of the cave with all his force. When they were near the exit, he can hear the dragon closer. So Talos left Melos in the ground and told him to wait, while Talos take his sword and Melos' shield with his another arm. Then he proceeded to the battle. The dragon was getting closer. He knew it. He was ready. Talos started running towards the sound of the growl. Then he saw it again. A huge glowing eyes. He doesn't stop for a second. He doesn't hesitate. The dragon take a huge breath and start inhaling. Then he spit a huge ball of fire. And Talos, with Melo's shield, protect himself. He felt this heat. He felt this pain. He can only see sparks all over the place. It was like candles everywhere, and he was feeling numb his legs, but he doesn't stop running. In a second, he went down the dragon head and with the shield give a hook into the dragon head. In that moment, Talos go around, jumped into the dragon's back. The dragon was kind of stunned because of the heat. Then he stopped moving around trying to take Talos off his back, but he grabbed the scale and with the other hand started stabbing the dragon one time and again and again and again. The dragon started growling and shaking and moving, but the cave was so small that he cannot move for liberty. The dragon was fading, his strength collapsing slowly every second. That was the mortal blow that killed the dragon. The dragon just stopped moving, fell to his knees and lay down, while Talos was still with his sword inside the dragon, holding the sword with both arms, shaking and covered in blood. Talos killed the dragon. He came back running to Melos, but Melos was already dying. He told, "Are you alright?" Melos responded, "I think this is our last adventure, friend. But remember, I will always love you. I only have one brother, and it was you. I will miss this." Talos, covered in tears and blood, said to his friend his sacrifice will be not in vain, that he will search for the princess and take her back home. Melos' hand touched the ground and stopped breathing. Talos just stood there, crying over his corpse. He cannot do anything else. Without knowing, Talos fell asleep. When he wake up, he think everyone was a dream, but the corpse of his best friend was over there by his side. He take Melo's shield with him, say goodbye to his friend, and went into the cave to search for the princess. The cave system was like a labyrinth. Talos just kept looking and looking everywhere. In one of the sections, he started hearing noises, and he remembered that one part of the cave was collapsed because of the dragon roar. So he went again to that place to hear, and he can hear a person, a girl. He take all the debris with his hands, with his bare hands, and finally there was a girl, maybe 18 years old, he doesn't know. She was over there, and Talos asked, "You are the princess? I was sent to find you." She replied, "Yes, I am." Then Talos looked closer. She was holding something. It was a hatchling of a dragon. He tried to kill it, but the princess said, "Don't do it. It's just a baby. It's a baby. You cannot do this." Talos started crying again and told her, "My best friend just died by his mother's claws." They came back together, and when they go across the carcass of the dragon, the hatchling started crying. He felt bad for the hatchling because it felt so sad, and in the deep of his heart he knew it wasn't the dragon's fault. It was the dragon nature. As a human breed, as a human fight, a dragon was meant to take princes to burn village. It is their nature. Because of this, Talos decided to forgive the hatchling and let it live. The princess and Talos made Melos' grave. The princess helped Talos, stacking some rocks on top of where the body was buried. Then Talos said some words as a pledge. You, my beloved friend, will not be forgiven. For me, I will always tell your story. For this grave will disappear, leaving behind just dust and ashes, not worthy of your great memory. Even when everyone has forgotten our story, they will not forget in their bodies, in their lives, that thanks to us, thanks to you, my friend, they are alive. Talos took the princess and went back home. The king was very happy. His daughter was back home, and Talos was meant to be compensated. The king offered him lands, wealth, anything he wanted from the kingdom, but he refused. He told the king that he has lost his best friend, that he only wants to keep roaming the land. He doesn't want anything else. But the king saw the value in Talos and offered the most valuable thing he has, his daughter, in marriage. Talos accepted, and from that moment, his adventures were to meet an end. However, as time passes, a terrible pandemic called the Blood Plague came to the kingdom. People start dying. It was a very strange sickness. The people start bleeding from their eyes. They start coughing, and their eyes became red like cherries. Not even the mighty Talos or the powerful king. Nobody can stop this. They were very worried. The princes, the nobles, their families, the kinsmen, the commoners, everybody. Because of this, the farmers start dying. They don't know how they contracted the sickness, but in fear, the nobles and the aristocracy, they put the farmers very far from the center of the city and demand an increase in food production because the nobles knew the city will need more food to sustain itself, and the supply was decreasing because farmers were dying and they were not even allowed into the city because they don't know how the sickness was being contracted. The king was very worried, and Talos and his wife also, now with a little boy called Melos, the firstborn of Talos. Talos tried to help the kingdom in multiple trips. Not a single one was fruitful. He was desperate, so the nobles and the aristocracy were meant to fix this by themselves. As nobles pushed the farmers to give them more food, the food supply just decreased because of farmer conditions. And within time, they decided to stop feeding their own people. This bring rage into the people. They were starving, they were dying, and not only because of the sickness, but the lack of food. It was a lot of revolts into the city. The city was a complete chaos. Talos tried to use the army and control the people, but it wasn't enough. Discontent was increasing. The nobles believed that the sickness was being spread by the odor, by the smell, because of the smell of the rotten corpses. It was different from normal dead people. The smell was so truthful, so intense. It was like charred meat or animal decomposed pieces. It was just simply horrible. And because of this, they start wearing some kind of mask, demon mask, with some herbal and aromatic herbs. However, this does not stop the spread of the sickness, and now the sickness was inside the city, all over the place. Traders, farmers, nobles, everyone has it. Everyone was just dying, corpses all around the city. There was no clean water because the people start throwing the corpses in the canals. The nobles tried to quarantine themselves. However, not even the king was safe. He ended contracting the sickness. The blood plague killed him. Talos went out of the castle just to see the chaos, how people were fighting in the streets just to get some food. He saw the desperation in their faces, the hunger, their pain, their sadness, and he thinked, I need to do something, I need to help these people. Even the king is dead now. What I am supposed to do? With half of the kingdom already dead, and the rest suffering from the sickness, hunger, and even violence, he decided to cleanse everything with fire, with the fire he saw in that cave, with the sparks that changed his life forever. He took the dragon, not anymore a hatchling, but a big dragon called Drag. He went into the town center and called everybody and said to them, bring every single person infected or with symptoms. Bring them here. We will get rid of this madness. Everyone in that plaza followed his bidding. They heard his voice. They followed his instructions. Everyone was so hopeless that this was a ray of light, the last of hope. Trust his words and bring everybody, even the people that was sick, ready to die, came by themselves. Everyone was eager of listening Talos. He, with a hopeless face, told everybody this was a sacrifice meant to help everyone, meant to save their sons, their daughters, the kingdom. But it came in a huge cost. He told everybody that all the people in the town center need to die in order to continue, that their untold stories, that their unnamed graves will be always remembered, and that please forgive him that he will carry with the sin. In that same moment, one loyal member of the guard approached him and told Talos that the princess was afflicted by the virus. He started sobbing and told the guard that please bring the princess to the town center. When she arrived, Talos kissed her as she told Talos, please don't do it. And Talos told the guard, put her with the others. Everybody was trapped inside the plaza as he offered a prayer. No matter who you are, no matter if you are rich or if you are poor, if you are black, if you are white, everybody here will be remembered because of their courage, because of their will, their iron will. Be proud like no one else. The half of the people inside the plaza start yelling, trying to escape, but the guards just pushed them into the middle. The rest were praying with Talos as his wife, in completely desperation, looked at him. That was the only time the people of the town saw Talos crying. Then, at dawn, he gave the order, looking at his wife, burn them all, Drag, kill everybody. The dragon hesitated at first because he saw the person that saved him, his mother, or may I say, the princess. Then Talos yelled at Drag, and he obeyed. Everybody in that plaza was charred, was burned. The sky was full of black smoke. The guards were poking all over the place. The sparks were one with the wind. Drag did it, and Talos, reigned by sadness, just stood there and looked firmly. Everything. From that day, Talos made an oath to listen. He felt the guilt of his wife's death because he only think about himself and his relatives, the close ones. He believed if he has done anything earlier, nothing of this will happen, but was already too late. From that day, he wore a helmet made of the rays of the first dragon, one that he will never take off, and nobody else never will see his face again. He decided to leave the castle and leave Melos with his uncle. The baby eyes were so alike to his mother. For him just was unbearable looking in the eye that baby with no mom because of him. He arrived at the sunset, right in drag. That was the last time anyone on the city saw him. He went around the country helping people, helping those in need and the ones that suffered the most. Because of the blood plague, a lot of conflicts has arisen, and he tried to stop them, or at least some of them. He was known as Talos the Cruel because he always take a side in a battle, and they knew the other side was going to lose, and they were afraid of his dragon burning people. Was just a horrible view, an unbearable sight. Going through uncountable battlefields, soldiers told stories on how Melos ended bleeding from inside its armor, with broadheads all over his body, with spears' points going through his chest, but always alive. His armor was dirty, now black, not shiny as a costume, but full of grease, and black because of the maintenance he was given to it with drag's breath. It was not like a knight armor, it was like a carcass wearing armor. He tried to punish the thieves, the corrupts, and the liars, but they were so many. In a lot of battlefields, people seemed grateful. Some of these young warriors offered their swords to Talos because he was mighty, because he was the way they believe. He doesn't want to create another house, another aristocracy. He doesn't want to create a strong voice to replicate what happened with his mother. So he think, and in the end he came to a conclusion. He will create a group called the Listeners, trained by Talos himself. These force were only composed by the most skilled of warriors. The requirements, only a ritual. You need to wear a dragon helmet, and nobody can see your face again. As Talos, lose your name, your country, your family. To listen to that voices that are so fragile, so low, so weak, that nobody hears, and help them, make a stand for them, feel their pain as yours, feel their hungry, feel their cold. No matter if it's a trader, a commoner, a noble, it's just a voice, and that's the Listener's purpose. He raised a small army, full of young, eager men, ready for battle, everyone with their shiny armor, with the dragon helms, ready to crash into battle and leave only one thing behind, a piles of corpses, even of 3 meters height or more. Sometimes they fight by the side of a dragon, some others they don't. They were so similar that nobody knew who was who, or even if there was a person inside that armor. After 10 years has passed, the people just fear the Listeners. Their army is a sign of defeat for anyone that attempt to fight them. In that time, there was a huge battle, a battle with no precedents. It is believed that it was the biggest battle in a century happening in that kingdom. Drag was seen, the order was seen, even 3 sides were fighting at the same place. In the same battle, a dragon and his rider were badly wounded. Some people believe he was Talos, but nobody knows for sure. The dragon went flying to a mountain. Before this happens, the people on the battle believe that the dragon burned 3,000 people. The battle was won by the side that was being backed by the Listeners. Some people went into the mountain just for curiosity. They found a grave in the top of the mountain, by the side of a collapsed cave. That was all. A wide majority of people, traders, nobles, farmers, artisans from the winning cities, start going on Sundays to leave flowers in a tomb with rocks stacking at the top, like the one in the mountain, with no name but clearly of a member of the listener's order. The listeners were roaming in the country following his instructions. Someone's even left the region, going nobody knows where, but following this code, burning people, burning those that, according to themselves, didn't listen. With the pass of the years, the battlefields have something new. A grave without a name, a grave with a dragon helmet on it, an untold story of a warrior that died here some time ago for some reason. Maybe, just maybe, that reason saved our parents, or maybe that reason killed them. In any case, people just feel happy when they see these helmets. For some, they feel fear because they knew the flames were coming anytime again. Decades later, nobody has seen a single dragon. Nobody knows for sure what happened to Talos. But what they know for sure is that the listeners are here, fighting for the people or their interest, but fighting with a clear view in mind. How I know this? Because my uncle told me, and I am the king of certain region. Right now in the battlefield sometimes you can find listeners in both sides. I hope this was the balance Talos meant to achieve. To leave everybody to choose, to listen. They fight for what they believe in, and that's the end of it. I just hope that as Talos learns to listen, I might be able to listen even the weakest of the voices, as they are my people, as they are my kingdom. Thank you so much for listening. My name is David. Don't forget to check out my website. Please subscribe. Thank you for listening. Leave a comment in the comment section. I have a very good one. See you later. Don't forget to follow the composer of the music, Adrian Von Ziegler, and thank you so much for listening. Give him a subscribe button also.